Let's go live. Welcome, adventurers, to another episode of Lothspell, brought to you by me, the Rambling Bard, and these lovely 5 players you see here below my image. We're going to jump right into it because it's been a little bit, and it might be a little bit before our next game, because I know next week's out, the week after that's out for Christmas. Nobody has any announcements, I don't think?
Nope.
Nope.
Nothing
All
that
right.
can wait.
All right, cool. As always, then, with Dungeons and Dragons streams on my channel here, I do have alert box turned off. So if there are follows, donations, bits, subscriptions, Patreon subscriptions, that sort of thing, I will honor each and every one of you at the end of our stream. So stick around. Even if I can't say it live, I will say it at the end of the stream, and I'm very appreciative for each and every one of you. So thank you very much for being here. And without further ado, let us get into game. So when we left off, Jimmy the Scout had been revived by the magic of a good berry, had been hanging on for meta's sake, had been hanging on with 2 failed death saving throws, and a long way to go in succeeding to stay alive. But the good berry was able to restore him to 1 hit point, and then with quite a long rest, he was able to, like most adventurers, bounce back. Now, you awoke to him sneaking into your camp, as it were, in the barn where you were being housed by the half-elf and his elf wife at the mill.
Did we ever get names for them?
Jaren and Aislinn.
There you go.
Thank you.
I was like, I believe we did, but I did not write them down when I was listening to the session earlier today, because I did not think about that part. But yeah, Jaren and Aislinn, thank you. Who are still sleeping soundly inside, from what you can tell. Jimmy managed to get his hands on the mask, though why and how is not immediately apparent. It seemed like perhaps it showed up in his hand. Perhaps he just had a good enough sleight of hand check to pull it as Ophio dragged him away from her things. But he slammed the mask onto his face and then seemed to wink out of existence. And that's where we left off. I will say that there is about 3 seconds of still silence as the people who are waking up kind of glance around and see him missing, before there is an audible pop, and the form of Jimmy, wearing this white marble mask with green veins, reappears, and it plops to its knees, like just drops straight to its knees, and says, "Apologies. The boy's will to run was strong. My will to remain took time to overcome. I would like to parley." And the head turns and looks at Ophio.
Of course it looks at Ophio, but...
All eyes turn.
Ophio was the last one that hit it, and still has her shillelagh drawn, and...
So... I don't know how close my sword is, but I'm getting it, like,
Fair.
right now.
Yeah. The whole party, you're welcome. It does nothing. You're all able to stand up and prepare in whatever way, shape, or form that you want. It stays kneeling with its hands kind of splayed in front of it, open, palms up, and just
I like
stands
that
very
everyone's
still.
looking at me. Everyone's looking at me. I'm looking at Brennan.
Oh. Wow. You're gonna take your cues from me on this one. Okay,
Well, I was trying to get you up.
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah,
So
at this
everyone's
point,
looking at me, I'm looking
he's
at you.
fully roused. Yeah.
Alright, understand that if we parlay, there are no conditions we will accept that do not involve releasing the boy.
Certainly. Agreed. Its voice has this weird hollow ring, like the marble bowls with the stick. I don't know what those are called. But they're used for meditation. You see them in metal with wooden sticks as well, but particularly it sounds almost like a mortar and pestle as it speaks.
Oh, a Tibetan singing bowl.
Yeah.
I love those things. I find them so relaxing.
Likewise.
Anyway.
But yes, it says agreed.
And this voice is audible?
Yes.
Okay.
The mouth is not moving, but the voice is audible.
Cool.
Okay. I'll look over at Ofio. Kind of shrug.
The boy seems to think you specifically, and it nods toward Ofio, know where I am from. And while my hearing was not perfect without a host, I had gleaned as much as well. I gave the boy what he wanted. At this point in the darkness in the barn, you can see that there is blood on the black leather gloves that Jimmy was wearing. Not a lot, but there is some. Also, no sign of any weapon.
Christ, it only took him 3 seconds to kill the guy?
Slitting a throat does not take long.
No, I suppose
He
it doesn't.
wished to destroy his abuser. I allowed him to.
Oh my.
That was the bargain. I needed a host. I thought I hungered for a soul. I think I hunger for something less and more.
When you say hunger,
Longing is what the boy's mind says the word is better suited for. My other piece, but I do not know what that means. It's like the first hint of emotion that you hear come out of it as it it's like a grating of stone as it says that. What
You're lonely.
am I? And it turns its head back toward Ofio.
I know something of where I believe you have come from.
I wish to be
But-
whole and not this. If I am broken, and you can return me to that, I will release the boy unharmed.
I did intend to take you back before you took your host.
As I said, the boy's will to flee was greater than my will to stay.
And what
Until
of
I
now?
sated his wish. He is content for now. He does
Then
not
you no
understand
longer
the
need
sting
him.
of How can I trust you?
can you communicate without wearing a person?
No. Nor can I move more than a few feet. I know that if I were to consume his soul, my powers would grow. But if there is an option that allows me to rest, I prefer it.
He could kick down with me. I'm pretty much useless.
Now you shut up back there.
Mm,
A willing
Don't-
host is always better than an unwilling one. The boy is angry that I am willing to give up this power I have given him. He will not be happy to be free. I do not care.
well, he can process that on his own another time. Arlene, do you think you could communicate with this entity without it being worn? Maybe, I mean, it stands to reason there might be a way around?
I mean, the way that the what I do, how I talk, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
the way that that works. Arlene is saying this. The way that that works is, like it's one way. Like I don't think
Oh,
you
I
thinking
see.
anything. Yeah.
So, okay, I can't. Right.
I can read the
Okay.
boy's mind because I am one with him. In the same way, I could not read it without being attached. Nor could I truly speak with him or anyone else. My connection to him was strong because of our time together, as he said, something around a fortnight or a month. He called me to his hand. When he got what he wanted, I came back.
And the bargain you wish to make now is to be returned home in exchange for releasing him.
Yes. I cannot constantly put my will over the boys. I am not a limitless source of power. He would
But
eventually win over again and could take me further from...
that's what I'm worried about, especially
Yes.
if we endeavor to help and we can't.
There are drawbacks to attaching. The boy will always be damaged because he made the choice. I don't know why. Make me whole again, and I might. But I'm not going to hurt him on purpose.
I'm
And the
gonna
sooner the
insight
better.
check
Yeah.
this thing.
Good
You have
idea.
advantage. You have advantage,
Okay.
Ohio.
Okay. Okay, that was a 16. That was a 19. Nice.
Nice.
Okay, what is my insight? +3. Okay, so 21.
Nice. Yeah, it seems genuine. It's holding perfectly still. It's just admitted to murder. It seems like it went from that all that you got from it before when it was unattached was just the hunger and it seeming like just a kind of malevolent entity. This is an entity that is desperately trying to understand where it's even from or why it even exists, and has a very real tangible lead on that now and doesn't want to give that up.
I'm telling you all again, he could just as easily spend some time with me.
I thought I told you to shut up back there.
Look, how good was I in the last battle? What good was I?
You got some good hits in there. I think the problem there was that I should have healed you before.
The only good
Sir
hits
Bren.
I got from that battle were afterwards with the bottle of rum. I'm lousy. I'm a lousy fighter. I'm a lousy actor.
You're also making lousy excuses. Your problem was that you stepped in front of me.
All right. Well, what do you think, General?
Does the one with the broken eye socket have a death wish? I am confused.
Yes.
Ah. He is older than the boy. I would be willing to exchange hosts. After all, we're closer to where the boy belongs than anywhere I belong.
And
And-
besides, he's
Searched his
suffered
memory.
enough. He's suffered
Yes.
enough. He needs to go back where he needs to get and get whatever help. I'm beyond help, so
I don't know about that.
I look over at Ophio. The cenotaph was in Larasindal, right?
Hmm.
Its head tilts. Where is Larasindal? What is Larasindal?
Who
What is a
this?
cenotaph?
All great questions. The bargain that you are attempting to make with us, I will require the boy to leave you first. Before we escort you.
Restrain
Something like
him.
this.
I do not have the power to render him unconscious. Restrain him, and I will leave
I
him.
certainly do. And she turns to Vash. You, Vash. Experience doesn't come with quick power, and neither do wits. You do well to remember that. I'm gonna smack this boy upside the head.
Who,
You don't have
Vash?
to roll to
Oh
hit. It is,
my.
No,
it is
no, the
willing
boy.
target, so just roll damage.
Yep. Okay.
Oh boy.
I'm just knocking him out. Non-lethal damage, y'all.
Yeah,
Calm
it's
down.
not. There's no rules for it, but yeah, it's a thing.
Everybody, calm down. Just doing non-lethal damage. Get ready
The
to
butt
crit.
of the scythe, not the big ghostly blade.
Yeah, I don't have the blade part.
Shillelagh's not active.
Shillelagh is actually.
It is
active.
actually active.
Oh god.
It absolutely fucking is. It's still a
I was
magical
trying
butt
to-
of a weapon.
Yeah, I was trying to, oh no. All right, 11.
Oh yeah, he had 1 hit point left when he teleported away.
Ah,
Sorry.
Okay.
So you basically spin your scythe shillelagh staff, smack him on the back of the head, and with
I
kind of
cast
a
sleep.
sickening sick like pop,
Mhm.
the mask just unattaches itself from his face and skitters across the dirt and hay of the floor of the barn and stops at your toes. And the boy just falls forward unconscious. And you get the very groan of somebody who's just had their lights
good
knocked
berry. I take another good berry, and I'm just gonna put it under his tongue.
out. Your last one. Alright.
Yep, smush his mouth a little bit.
Hold up.
Take the mask. I'm gonna grow some of my arm into it.
Oh no.
So you
Yep.
push your
Okay.
fungus
I'm just
through
gonna-
the eye holes of
Yeah.
the mask.
Yeah, I'm just gonna smush the mask over my arm, and then some of the little beautiful fungal growths are just gonna wreath around it. Some mushrooms,
man, a fire needs one of those slime Instagram accounts, just pushing stuff into it.
Oh.
Her limbs.
Yep.
You know
ASMR mushroom
Yeah,
growth.
Mhm. ASMR Ofio grows over your wounds.
I shit you not though, I would absolutely watch hours and hours and hours of just classical music with mushrooms growing really slowly,
Yeah.
time lapse of mushrooms growing, just because it's so
Yeah,
cool
that's
to watch
alright.
funguses grow.
Yeah.
I've seen a video clip of classical music being played over that fast motion video of a dead fox decomposing.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
similar.
It doesn't have quite the same effect.
It's
No, I
weirdly
expected one-
beautiful, though.
It is. It's cool to watch nature
Yeah.
take its course like that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
mean- Recycling.
So before
Okay.
before we get him back to any form of consciousness, is there some rope around here that I can bind his hands and feet with?
oh yeah, there's all it's a barn for
It's a barn.
horses and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, there's farm implements and rope and so before you allow before Ophio
Stick him in
gives
a
it the good
bridle.
bear, you're like, hang on,
Yeah.
just go ahead and make do a dexterity
wrangle
or
check.
acrobatics check to do the rope.
Acrobatics.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
you're doing
you're doing a-
backflips while you're tying him up.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
just do a dexterity check. Yeah, there's not really.
Cartwheeling-
There used to be a
cartwheeling across
use
the
rope
barn.
skill because, as a lot of sailors that I knew, and I mean that because I knew a lot of people when I traveled with Ren Fairs, sailors
I
that
was
I knew,
gonna
they're
say-
like,
I
the
was gonna
use
say
rope skill is so
performance.
useful.
I was
What?
going to say performance check so that because I figure he would want to do it in a lasso.
Fair.
Or it
if
could
you've
be
got a
survival.
performance skill, then I'll allow a performance. Basically, if you
Shorts
can
playing in the
RP
background.
a reason why you could use a skill to do a task, I'll allow it. If you can justify it,
Do
I'll
some
allow it.
sweet feudalistic shibari.
Okay. Let's say I'm going to use an athletics
Sure.
check to hog tie him and make sure it's nice and tight.
That's fine.
Like-
That'll work.
In that case, that's a 24.
Nice.
he's not going anywhere, and yeah,
This poor boy.
you put
Look,
the
look,
good
the,
berry
look,
in his
when
mouth.
when the poor boy made a pact with monstrous evil, he kind of stopped being a poor boy. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just a
traumatized
poor
boy.
boy. I made a pact with unspeakable evil. He's just a poor boy that made a pact with unspeakable evil.
Honestly, like while Sir Brennan is like tying this up, Pony is playing in the background because
Oh,
why are
no!
you not using 24 athletics to tie a dude up?
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
God.
So
Ophio's just like blinking a few times while you're doing this. Shillelagh
child is
thistles
now-
out.
trust like a fucking hog. Yep.
Vash just sits on the ground, bow-legged, hand propping up head, watching, bored.
This is the weirdest thing that has happened this week.
Apart from the giant explosion thing.
Well, you know,
The bodies on the ceiling.
no,
Morning
that's
starts to
not weird. That's
starts to
horrible.
dawn, and as y'all are saying that, like the sun rises and just crests right on that beautiful multicolored mushroom explosion from the pile of corpses the day before. It's like it's been a weird week. Mushrooms. Yeah.
Ah.
Just on the other
Mondays.
side of the boundary of that cursed land. Yep.
So, are we going to leave Jimmy here? Or are we going to
Hog-tied and covered
go
in
back?
blood.
No, he comes with us.
I
Oh,
was gonna say we could tell somebody he's here.
but where are we going now? That's what I'm trying to ascertain.
We are taking the cart and we're getting paid.
Right.
I agree with Sir Brennan on this. I don't think that we should immediately follow this lead.
Right, especially because of all this undead shite. Like, what kind of piss wizard is out there doing this crap? Like, we have to warn everyone.
And the
Well,
best place to do that is in Saren's Gate.
Where I must speak with Saren.
Saren's back in Larasindal, a good month away.
We're going to need
Where?
provisions. Yeah, we're going to need provisions to get there anyway. So
Okay, so off we go then. Let's get started.
all right. Well,
So you yoke up the horses. It's probably not the
yeah.
right term.
Whose horses are getting yoked up here? Because I have to ride.
Um,
I'm a knight.
Bliss will
I'm not going to
volunteer
get
one of
trundled around
hers,
in a
yeah.
cart.
I think she can sort of perch on the edge, like a corner of the cart, and balance with her wings out if she needs to.
So we're going to lash Bliss's horse and
Who's gonna be driving the cart?
Ophio has proficiency with land vehicles, doesn't she?
That she does. It makes sense if Ophio's horse.
Is that a thing now?
Yeah.
Is that a? Okay, cool.
Yeah. You need proficiency with land vehicles in order to be able to handle them on rough
Yeah,
terrain.
I do. I do have proficiency in land vehicles, so I can actually drive. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Sweet.
So we'll do Bliss's horse and Ophio's horse to the cart.
Okay. All right. And You can ride the horses while they're yoked to the cart. That's not a problem. It's not really a cart. You can. There's a small bench up front, so you can ride on it. Of course, you can ride in it if next to the hogtie Jimmy, if you want. He's just kind of laying there miserably. He doesn't. He's not. I would say it's safe to say he's unconscious. Even though he's at 1 hit point, he's had a night.
Yeah.
Is
I consider that perfect company. I will sit next to him.
is Arlene recovered yet from
Yes.
the shivers?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we
The
did
shivers
that
passed
16
with that
hours.
massive rest. Yeah.
By the way,
And,
for everyone paying attention, I have 21 days before bad things happen now.
Dun,
That's
dun.
very true.
Cool.
That's very true. So, we making a 1-day pace or a 2-day pace?
Well, considering the last time we tried a 1-day pace,
Yeah, it didn't turn out so well. 2 days is probably going to be better.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do to determine, because it is pretty much riding the road back, I'm going to determine how things go with just a couple of percentage die rolls. So we'll see how the first day goes for expedience's sake. These are some interesting rolls. Okay. So, the trip back, the first day, is uneventful in your area.
Hmm.
The first night, you find yourself pulling up to a homestead that smells like a bakery. It's the only thing this place can be. And just, it's pretty much like it calls your party to come to a stop.
Yeah.
And much with the like I mentioned before, continuing with the culture of these lands, which I learned in actual history from a friend of mine named Sid. There's actually a term for it. It's called Greeth, and it's basically and it's spelled Gridh, and it's basically the idea that you welcome a stranger into your home to take care of them because they're a human and humans need shelter and food. You take care of them out of good grief, out of just basically good faith that they will be good to you in return and not steal you or kill you and take your things in your sleep. That sort of thing. Steal from you or kill you, take your things in your sleep. And
That means you, Vash.
grief can also be bad grief. It can be basically revoked and then that person can be considered an invader and a usurper, and then you're no longer a welcome guest. So it's very much a tentative, don't break the peace because you'll fucking ruin it for everybody. And so having seen the adventurers coming down are basically always on, keeping their eyes on the road as an active bakery, they're outside waiting for you with a basket of fresh bread and get you bedded down in just a comfortable little spot that's in their front yard, essentially, between their house and the road. In other words, you're between any goings-on that might be, well, going on. Y'all said you wanted to warn people along the way back, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. You absolutely are able to do that, and that's another reason why places like bakeries like this are eager to get adventurers, especially to stop and camp in front of them, is what news do you bring from the outlands? Not that you were too far afield, but so you share the news. What is your general sharing? What do you tell people?
We probably would have discussed this on the way up, maybe.
Certainly, yeah. And this is kind of your opportunity to, like, all right, what are we going to tell everybody? Come up with it together. Like, I'm not sorry, I didn't mean to like put you on the spot. Like, tell me what your plan was. But yeah, come up with it, and yeah, let's brainstorm that because I'm curious.
First of all, the bard tells a story because
Yeah. I was going to
Because
say that.
bonuses.
Liz tells it.
She's probably like, you know, let's be honest, but not too gory details.
Okay.
Kind of honest.
and at least make ourselves look kind of heroic.
Well, she
A
can
little.
she can make. Yeah, everybody else gets heroic treatment. But also like, um, but the other farmers were also, clever because
Mhm.
they boarded their places up and they protected their own and their livestock,
Mm,
which is a good example. And they
indeed.
survived.
All right. Yeah, it seems like just fairly good, straightforward advice. There, as long as there wasn't any. Yeah, we found a guy pinned to a ceiling and like their teeth
No,
ripped
Yeah.
out
not
and soul
details.
pumpkins.
No.
Yeah. But whites and zombies attacked a farmstead. We lost some lives, but we took care of the white and the zombies.
Yeah.
Something else is afoot. We're looking into it. We're
And
telling authorities, basically.
make sure to check in on your neighbors every now and then,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
make sure that your community is safe.
Awesome.
So is that like a performance check or?
No, I would actually say like you don't. I mean, that's fairly well laid out. I don't think that that requires really a roll. As a matter of fact, I would say Bliss, if you would take inspiration for coming up with that. It's well laid out.
Hey.
Good way to keep the it gets the party in a good light. Lets everybody kind of know about the party. You're a tiefling and you're also the face of the party, so that's kind of fun. Breaking stereotypes and all that good stuff. And so like that's been a really welcome thing for Bliss as well, is like she was she grew up as this cursed thing, but everybody that meets you, even if they're a little bit taken aback at first, they warm to you really quickly, and you realize like it kind of starts to hit you that maybe it's not so bad out here. It's not.
Yep.
People look past skin deep if given a chance, and it's nice to see, I suppose. The woman at the bakery, who is actually she's standing there with this basket of bread after everybody's taken some, and she's kind of heard your report, and she's just looking at the back of the cart,
Yep.
and she's like, "Is that Jimmy?"
Yeah.
And he just from the back of the cart, he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
This is really impressive.
So Bremen, I think we need to help him up and give him, a bit of a stretch and a walk around and a chance to come back to himself.
I'll take
That
care of
kind of hurts.
I'm gonna head over to
Well-
the car. I'm gonna head over to the cart, and I'm actually going to take out that dagger.
Ooh. Okay, kind of flash it in his face as you go to cut the ropes for him.
I'm just gonna kind of stick it in the cart next to his face and explain to him. All right. Now you done wrong here.
I am dead silent. I am
It
looming
is-
over him, all 7 feet tall, just
He's-
staring in dead
He's kind
silence.
of glaring at Bremen as he talks to him. But he's quiet and listening. Because he knows he'll get his ass beat if he does anything wrong. He knows he's outnumbered.
Now, as a knight, you understand it is technically within my jurisdiction to pass judgment on you right away. However, it is also a knight's place to be merciful. And I'm going to pick up that dagger and I'm going to slit the ropes holding his feet. Not his hands, but his feet.
Sure. His
And
legs
say-
kind of relax from the hog tie, and he just uncurls and from the backwards curl and like just stretches out and lays there, and he keeps listening. When you reminded him that as a knight I could pass judgment right here and now if I wanted to. You see his young adult face, like he's 18, 19 tops, I think I had said. You see him blanch a little bit.
Now the problem is though is that I'm bullshitting on that one because I technically don't have any jurisdiction this far out.
No, you don't. But
I mean, he doesn't need to know that.
what does the kid know about fucking heraldry and shit? Yeah.
Exactly.
So he he just kind of lays there, stretches out, and listens to you, and kind of hoists himself up into a sitting up position. After being hogtied for 12 hours, I'm sure he's
Yeah. 8
not
hours on the
even
road.
really eager to stand up because his back and legs hurt. But I mean, and arms. But I mean, he's a known murderer, and so.
To be honest, I'm not even completely sure what to do with you.
As the boy sits up, Ophio, you notice that the mask feels like it sinks away from him into your arm. Like, just ever so slightly, but you feel it recede from the boy.
It's like sinking literally into my arm, and I'm just kind of looking at it. That's concerning.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna put my arm. I'm putting my arm, pull my cowl, but I guess it's like part of me now. I'm pulling my cowl a little bit over.
Okay.
Well, someone said maybe take him up for a walk. I will volunteer to do that for him.
Flip
Okay.
I'm gonna
doubt.
flip the dagger and hand it over to Vash.
Okay. So Vash takes the dagger and the boy and goes for a walk.
That's
He
making me
kind of
nervous.
reaches with his. He's still got his hands bound behind him, so he just kind of turns and very deftly. It's like he's used to having his hands tied behind him. Very deftly reaches into the bag of hot dinner rolls and just pops one out and like tosses it over his shoulder and catches it in his mouth and just sits there and gradually takes bites off of it without dropping it.
Damn.
I don't react.
But he'll walk with you.
Arlene follows
Okay.
stealthily.
All right. Make a stealth check.
Cool.
Sir Bremen, Ophio, while that happens, Sir Bremen, Ophio, and Bliss. How about y'all?
Hell yeah.
The stable boy comes over. It's a bigger bakery, much closer to town, so things are starting to get larger. You're starting to see like little actual copses of houses, not just quads. So that they lead your horses and your cart over to the stable and get to working on them.
I'm gonna look over at Ophio and say, I truly don't know what to do with him.
Nor do I.
The law will require that we turn him over to the mayor and the sheriff for judgment. But proving that case would require proof, for starters, and all that they would have would be our word.
Which is not much to go off of.
No, however, bringing word of danger from beyond the realm's borders would increase our standing and probably favorably dispose them toward us. Now I'm not worried about not being believed. It's, do I want to give that word?
What are you concerned about?
I don't know if it's right.
She kind
I
of gives
don't-
him a look.
I don't know if it's wrong either.
So what was your first idea then?
Truthfully, I've been writing all day trying to come up with one. Ideas are
Perhaps
not.
we should ask the boy, since it is his fate.
Back home, if I had been faced with a murderer, I would have known what to do. Out here, it's maybe not quite so simple.
Yes, things certainly have complicated themselves.
And meanwhile, Bliss is just sort of standing around doing a big stretch and is fluttering from eaving to cut and then up around and catching bits of bread that she's tossing to him.
Nice. Okay.
Fire's watching this while having this serious conversation.
He looks like just a really, like the way he moves, just reminds you of a very big, colorful butterfly. It's just very soft and delicate and fast, ridiculously fast for kind of how he's shaped. And when he lands on you momentarily to like bat at a firefly or something like that, it's like a bird landing on you, incredibly light.
I say that we should ask the boy.
And what if he asks us to let him go?
We can't do that. You know that.
Well aware.
We can ask him what he prefers to do, how he prefers to go about this. I don't know these laws anymore. They are... Your culture is obsessed with nuance. I suppose it has to be in all of this peacetime. Your laws don't make sense to me.
Cut to Chase, Arlene,
Yes.
and Jimmy. Jimmy's finished his roll. He's kind of eyeing the knife, looking at you, chewing the last bite. He's like, all right, so you're not going to just drag me out here and kill me after doing all of that work. So what's this about? All that work to make sure I didn't die in the first place, I should say.
Whereabouts are we?
I'd say you're you're headed. What do you mean, like in regards to the bakery?
No, just in general, where are we?
Oh, you're about a day away from Saren's Gate at this point, and at least as far as in relation to the bakery, you're kind of out in a field. There's an empty field. There's some trees dotted here and there, larger oak trees, that sort of thing. And time of day is around, it's just around sunset, so around 7:30. 7.
Okay.
It's about 7 o'clock because it's autumn.
I have to advise you, my captioning's no longer working on my side.
Working on my side just fine.
Okay, good. Well, whatever. I'm going to motion with the knife to the two nearest trees. Let's have a seat.
Okay. So he'll go over, and before he sits down, he just does this neat little hop where he hops backwards through his arms. So they're in front of him. They're still bound, but they're in front of him. And he just sits down up against one of the trees. There's a couple of them that are pretty close together. Up against one of them, and he's looking at the knots. He's like, that's good knot work. And I'm not, like, there's no way there's no wonder I couldn't get out of this. Still wouldn't be able to, even looking at it. And he just relaxes and sits back against the tree and stops looking at it.
Well, it's good to know that Count Vapid Vanity is good for something, at least.
Motherfucker is strong.
I like that name!
Look, I'm not going to use this on you, but if you try anything stupid, and I hold up my fingers and I start up Chill Touch, I'm going to freeze your mouth shut. Is this in any way unclear?
Crystal clear. Got it.
So,
Edgy
What did
type,
he-
huh?
what did he do to you?
He? It? The mask?
The guy you killed.
Oh. Dad beat me every day of his life. Friendly as all fuck to everybody in the town. Everybody just thought he was just a silly, goofy drunk. Or since Mom died. He was angry and he took it out on me. I wasn't big enough or strong enough to do it on my own. Even when he was drunk. Mask helped. It's quick. If it helps, he didn't suffer like I did. Didn't have time. Was fighting the mask the whole time. Or since it figured out that you knew where it came from. Thought that thing was my ticket out of here. It looks like it's my ticket to being stuck here. Isn't it? Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna throw me in the jail back in Saren's Gate?
I have absolutely no intention of doing that.
He perks up a little. Okay. So what then?
In a weird way, you remind me a lot of myself.
Okay.
I wanted revenge on a lot of people for how I figured they wronged me. But that kind of thing, and I motion with the knife towards him, that's really deserving of it. Not the silly shit I hurt people for.
He just kind of... He kind of nods when you say, you know, that you felt like it was, like, deserving. And he confirms, he's like, that's kind of how I felt about it. And when you say, aside from things you hurt people for, and he frowns, but he doesn't press the issue. What's your passive perception, Chase? Vash, I should say.
13.
Okay. Arlene, you go unnoticed. You like
Hell
duck
yeah.
behind a couple of trees, and you're close enough to, with that stealth check, you're close enough to be listening.
Sweet.
And here, as you can tell, Jimmy did not notice you. He rolled a 7, so he did not. He's got a good perception, but he did not.
Very glad about that.
So are you doing anything in particular? You are hidden, I'll give you that.
I'm just listening and watching, and if anyone makes a move that I don't like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
Okay. All right. So you're charged and waiting to do something. So we'll see. Go ahead, Vash.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've got to do something to help you.
Well, tell you what. Because I don't want to cause any unrest. I've caused enough problems for you people enough as it is, and I also don't want any of you trying to hunt me down. So if you want to help me, convince your friends not to lock me up forever, and I'll get the first boat off this continent. I'll go to Drastonia and hunt treasure over there. So I might need money for boat fare too. He says that he's kind of embarrassed, but he's like, so if you can convince your friends to give me a boatload of gold, literally a boat, a boatload of gold, then I promise I'll leave forever. No, but he says you can convince your friends not to throw me in jail. You'll never hear from me ever again.
Well,
I'll leave
one
the
thing at a
continent and I
time.
won't come back.
One thing at a time. If I know anything about this group, they're probably debating about whether or not to turn you in. It seems to me that you were entirely justified in what you did, even though you did a stupid thing to do it.
His eyes seem to unfocus a little bit as you say that, and then they snap back to looking at it. It's like he looks through you for a split second and then looks at you, and there's a look over his face as he nods that it was like he's seen a ghost, or maybe a couple thousand.
But what would really help is if you just admitted to it. Not, hey, I killed the guy, I'm guilty. But no, you need to tell whoever exactly what you told me. And it would really help if you had some sort of proof.
I showed people bruises, but they always blamed it on me being a treasure hunter. Blamed
Bruises?
it on my silly explorations in the woods and stuff like that. It wouldn't look hard enough to see.
Bruises come and go quite easily, and I rub my broken eye and I say, most of the time. But what I'm thinking about is something indelible. Were you keen on writing by any chance?
Just kind of shakes his head. I mean, the only thing I ever wrote about was stuff that I found when I wasn't home. I might have mentioned it in passing, but I mean, you think the magistrate of Seren's Gate's gonna care about the diary of a 17-year-old boy? Like, they might listen to y'all. I mean, after all, you guys killed the evil monster and all that. Not to sound sarcastic, because you actually did save my life and all that, but you saved my life. I should have been dead twice over now, probably. But by stopping the white and healing me, and then by mentioning around me that you knew where that mask was even from, you saved my life, my soul. Yeah, I heard everything it said. It's like it was like a nightmare that you could not wake up from, to overstretch the cliche. The only time I had any control was when he took me to my father, and I did what I did. And then I couldn't even revel in it. He brought me right back to you.
Is there anything in your father's home that would prove to someone beyond a shadow of a doubt that he did those things to you?
Sorry, the DM in me just had a realization of something that could absolutely prove that. Jimmy wouldn't know about it, though, so that's a really tough thing.
What about that? Yeah,
I need...
What about the halflings back at...
I need both Arlene and Vash, though, to make an Arcana check, trained or not. I know that you don't... I don't think anybody in the group has Arcana, if we remember correctly, but make an Arcana check.
Gigi.
I keep typing the wrong.
I think
wrong
it's
down
dash
already.
roll. I can't remember.
One of these
Arcana.
days I will remember it.
5.
Well, Arlene has no
Okay.
idea.
Oh,
Equals
jeez.
roll?
It's all on you, buddy.
Let me try it. Equals roll 1d20. That's
It's
it. Equals roll.
There you go.
Yeah. Good old dice bot.
There
Womp.
it is.
Son of a bitch!
The spell, basically, you get this twinge of, I feel like there's a spell that would be useful here, and then the second that you think it, it's gone. And Jimmy just kind of shakes his head and he goes, "Not unless you know somebody who knows how to speak with a dead guy and force him to tell the truth."
Shit, what is that spell?
Speak with dead.
Oh, yeah.
Know the very words of the thing he just said.
Yeah, I was trying to be heavy-handed on purpose, but you know.
You
like,
have
I
to
was-
remember, I'm an idiot.
Like I was thinking.
Everybody in the party is magic and religious defunct. Like, it's not surprising in a high magic campaign where it's important. I love it.
Like, well, in the back of my mind, I was thinking unseen servant, but I've never done that before, and I don't think it would be able to look for anything specific.
Unseen servant would be fantastic for cleaning up the mess that Jimmy just made of his father's house. But aside from that, it wouldn't do a whole lot to prove the abuse that he lived through. No.
Well, there's only one thing for it. Then I'm gonna have to look.
It's true. So Jimmy just kind of balks at that, and he's like, I wonder if anybody's found him yet. Probably not. We didn't have visitors. It's been a day. He's probably starting to stink. He always stinks. Sorry I tangled y'all all up in this.
Well, that's a good thing about tangles. You never knew where one end starts and the other ends.
Gross.
Anyway, I think it's time we met back with the party.
Yeah, sure. And he'll kind of put out his hand for you to help him up.
I hesitate just a second, and then I hold it out.
He'll pull himself up, and then afterwards he'll take a few steps, and it's just you get that fleeting feeling of like, son of a bitch, is he running? As he takes these 2 really fast steps, but he's just using it to build his momentum, and he hops back over his arms and puts his hands behind him. And you go walking back into the view of the front of the bakery. A few minutes
You're
go
gonna have to
by,
teach
and
me how to do that.
he goes, "Oh yeah, I can. It's more about getting yourself higher up in the air." And he starts to like kind of explain it. It's like getting yourself higher up in the air and then swinging the arms, and less about jumping through. It's you have no idea how many times I face planted learning to do it. So while Ophio and Sir Bremen and Bliss had kind of been watching the pseudo dragon play and discussing what to do, you eventually round the corner and come back. So everybody's back together now. Setting
I'd
up
like to
camp,
make
I
it
assume.
seem like Arlene was not tailing them
Sure.
by showing up after them, but from a different direction.
Yeah, so Arlene basically takes the long way around the bakery and comes back from the other side.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep, you come back and nobody is the wiser. I think, if anything, maybe Bremen and Ophio might have noticed.
I wasn't hiding it from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look up at Dash. No trouble?
Absolutely nothing.
And Jimmy just kind of walks up, plants his feet, and goes, "I killed my dad because he beat me every day ever since my mom died."
I tune into Bremen and say, that is the truth as far as I've heard it.
And
Just to Bremen.
And if we can find the
I
proof
thought the
of it,
mask was my ticket out of here. And he basically pleads his case, and he's like, and if you don't turn me in to this town, where I will either be locked up forever or hung by the neck until dead the next dawn, I will get the next ship out of here and never come back.
Inside Jack.
Go for it. Everybody can. She's been waiting for inside check.
I'm not going to.
Oh, fuck me. That's an 8.
That's an 8 on me, too.
Wow.
17.
All right. A file, Bash.
I'm not going to.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not going to either.
Arlene, he seems legit. He says, I just want to get out of here. I've always just wanted to get out of here. See something new, different. It's been the same fucking 6 square miles my whole life.
And if we can find the evidence that proves he was acting in self-defense, he'll be exonerated, and he'll be out of our hair, and we'll be out of his.
That won't be necessary. As a knight, I can pass judgment. And I've been reserving that right this whole time.
I'm like, oh, I just mutter,
Since it's the
shit.
party.
Your bravery in the defense of others has at least merited this question. What do you think should happen to you?
I mean, banishment's like it's like an actual punishment, right? I mean, it feels a little unfair that I'd kind of be getting what I wanted. But if it makes you feel better, you can pick the ship, you pick the destination, and I'll never come back to Tyrrell again. I just want off this rock.
You couldn't have
Get
done
away
that
from him.
without killing him. I mean, I kind of, I
could have, yeah.
understand.
But if you had the opportunity to kill somebody who'd beat the shit out of you every day for the last, hold on, not good at math, 9 years, would you take it? Rich,
This just
funny,
grows-
drunkard, famous and popular in town or not? I'd do it. I'd do it again.
This just goes quite pale and sort of looks at the ground and doesn't say anything.
Yeah, if his dad wasn't going to do it to him, it was eventually going to be...
He says, if you want to see that I'm hung by the neck until dead, or if you want me to kneel down and you want to behead me right here and now for what I've done for murder, fine. Because like I said, I'd do it again. My best chance right now is if I bolted and tried to run, but I'm sure one of you would just snipe me in the back with some magic or something terrifying. So I don't have any chance of contending with any of your wills. I can tell you what I want, what I think I deserve. Banishment feels fitting, because I feel it was justified, but I'm a little biased.
I
just don't want to rot in a
think
cell.
that in light of all of this information, I understand your motives. We would still need some sort of proof of this. Otherwise, we are going on words and words alone, and that does not function well in the light of complex law.
A man's word is his bond.
I'm pretty sure that the courts have the higher courts at least have some sort of magic that you can't lie in the main room.
I don't
but
know anything like that, but I can
It's
suggest
not
writing
compulsive
something.
truth.
yeah, I mean, from a
Well,
DM
you cannot
confirmation,
lie.
yeah,
It's not.
it doesn't force you to
compulsive
speak.
truth.
Yeah,
It does not
and
force you to speak.
he says
all.
the only person that knew aside from me was him.
That's
Well,
not.
unfortunately for everyone, I do not have access to third level spells yet. So we cannot speak with dead, unfortunately, folks.
Could-
Even though
Could we
Is
find
there-
out if someone else could do that?
That's basically what he kind of leans into asking as well. Like, do you know about magic where you can do that? Where you can, because that's news to him. You can make dead people speak.
the dead woman looks at him.
But you're like,
Well?
you're like a mushroom. You're not dead. You're not dead like they were dead.
I was.
Mostly dead, slightly alive.
No, it was, as far
Didn't.
as I understand it, complete death.
Well, if anyone is going to know, like, we can talk to anyone of the clerical persuasion in Serensgate,
Yeah,
or in the mayor's office. They should
priest of
have
Velostri
at
might
least
be able
know.
to do something.
There. We have our first connection then.
But then that does that mean we'll be bringing Jimmy back with us to stand as people witness this conversation, or are we letting him go now?
I could claim him a prisoner.
I'm not going anywhere on my own just yet, says Jimmy. Like, even if you let me go right now, I'd probably hide in this bakery for a little while because of what happened to me 2 nights ago when I was on my own. I know you killed it, but I also know it said it had a master and there's more. I'm not ready to travel by myself yet. So I'll go back to Saren's Gate with you if you're actually willing to help me show them the truth. I just didn't. He shrugs. It's never been an option before. I tried. But now that he's dead, if you can make a dead guy speak, maybe he'll tell him. Yeah, I'll go back.
Well then.
Can you loosen the knots though? These like my wrists are chafing something fierce.
I don't know. It was quite impressive watching him do backflips while he was tying knots.
You're damn right it was.
Well,
Jackie
if it
Chan in
helped-
Shanghai Noon with the horseshoe on the end of the rope, like.
Well, to speak in the boy's defense, he had plenty of opportunities to run away from me during our walk, and he didn't take one of them.
Of course.
Perhaps if he just stayed close to me, I'll be the de facto guardian, I guess.
Although it doesn't help the prisoner standpoint. So perhaps walking until we are within sightline of the town.
I'm gonna loosen his bonds.
Okay. He does not fiddle with them. He just kind of he will now that there seems to be a little bit more of a lax feeling around. He'll sit down and not do the hyper hop, but like sit down and quietly work his arms back in front of him. But he'll keep his hands bound, but he'll take another roll out of the basket as it makes another round by y'all's camp, and he'll munch on that. And he just kind of zones out and stares into the campfire. And he's pretty quiet for the rest of the night unless directly addressed. Yeah. Ophiel, the mask is incredibly quiet. Like, it definitely does not seem to be attempting any conversation or anything with you. It's possible that it's gone inert because it's expended too much power for a while there. You're not sure.
Well, if it's quiet, it's quiet. It's an interesting tattoo right now.
Pretty much.
I think that's body mod, not a tattoo.
Fair.
Yeah.
Unfortunately sunken so far into my arm that it's merged with the level of my skin. It's at this point.
You know, with the size of that mask and the size of your arm, you probably look like Popeye right now.
Something like that.
A little bit.
Ophiel
You
is
just
the
have one of
epitome
those lip
body
discs.
horror.
But it's in your arm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That too.
It's just look at all of the she's like observing her overgrown arm. It looks kind of it's just bizarre even for her.
It's
Yeah,
like a tree absorbing a bicycle as it grows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yes.
The
Ew.
pictures of like the tree absorbing the sign,
I'm a little
pushing the
concerned
paint
that if
off of the sign.
I'm a little concerned that if we leave this in too long, that I will actually destroy this mask.
You, I don't know. Your
DM,
body
I don't
seems to-
know.
Yeah, right. As I was gonna say,
Maybe.
is the I don't know is more like trying to parse what your character would know. From a DM standpoint, you do feel like you could just grab the mask and easily pull it out right now. It's almost as if like your skin is just another kind of prehensile hand.
Ew.
And in that sense, it just can hold things like that.
That thought is immediately she's gonna kind of like pull at the clasp of the cloak, but it's part of her skin, so she
Yep.
kind of like itches into her collarbone to pull it off, and it just doesn't pull off. And then when she finally like gets the edge of it, because she's like scratching at it, like, okay, where is the end of the tape kind of style?
Sure.
And she pulls the cloak up a little bit, and she realizes, hey, I can extend this. Like, I actually feel this. She's starting to like, you know how Bliss has these huge wings?
Yeah.
Same deal here, except it's a membrane that is formed over this cloak, and the cloak is just gone now. It's just this membrane. She's just like
upsetting.
she's like moving it around, and she just like, It is the strangest like discovery. And
Okay, while she's figuring this out, I'm just going to start reading my alchemy book, and I'm not going to pay any attention at all. No, just burying myself in alchemical formulas that I don't even understand.
you just hear this.
No.
No.
These like manta ray wings, and she's just flexing them
Oh
now.
my
Shut up.
god.
Oh no.
Oh no. Bliss is gonna be like, eh? Like,
Oh,
compare the
gosh, okay.
wingspan.
Jimmy has not looked up from the fire. That's how out of it he is right now.
buddy.
Don't look. Be like the scene at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Shut your eyes, Marion.
So the night passes pretty uneventfully. Crickets chirping quietly in the very cool, frost-settling night. All three of your watches will pass, as I said, uneventfully. Was there anything that you wanted to do during this long rest?
I
Andrew, you said
actually,
you were studying your alchemical formulas. I was going to actually have you roll
yeah,
an
that book that
intelligence
I
check
picked
for me.
up. Huh?
Yeah, roll an intelligence check for me just to see. I'm going to see how
Well
much you
that I get it.
glean from. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
That's a 10.
10. Okay. You start to put together like, okay, so it's going to take a few days to do this. You have to start brewing it on this day. Like, you basically write out your really basic, this is my method. This is what I'm
Mhm.
going to have to do. So you start taking your own notes for it, and you start to understand, like, okay, you have to assemble the pieces on the correct night and start it on the correct night because of the positions of the stars and the moon, apparently.
How much how many alchemical tools is this really going to take? Am I going to need like a full set?
Yeah,
Damn it.
you'll need the classic Elder Scrolls Oblivion set of
Yeah,
alembic,
that.
mortar, pestle. Basically
Yeah, we
a
can-
nice little alchemist table.
Well, in that case, well, don't worry, Brennan. All we have to do is consistently make potions that enhance our enchantment, and then we chug them all, and then keep enhancing our own enchantment. And then we'll be able
Baller.
to make your lycanthropy potions with 300%
Hey, nobody uses the L word.
I am curious. I would like to know how secretive you're being with this note taking and studying.
I'm
Like, do you need to roll a stealth check? Or are people going to be able to roll a standard perception?
yeah, I'll say that I'm taking notes fairly openly, but I'm changing a word here and there maybe.
Okay.
I feel like Ophio would take watch with him, and she'd be like so entranced by these wings.
Yeah, she just doesn't notice
Like,
what he's doing.
She knows he's writing. She'll look up every once in a while, but like, she's a mushroom. This is new.
Yeah. Finally, some time to actually like sit and process it. And eventually, Jimmy will just kind of turn his back to the fire and curl up around the kind of like with his face up against the log he'd been sitting on around this fire. So his back's to the fire to keep warm, and he just passes out and goes to sleep.
I'm gonna sit down next to him.
Okay. He stirs a little bit while he's sleeping. Like after probably 45 minutes or so, like it becomes clear he's having a nightmare. Because he pulls his hands, even though they're bound, he pulls like his hands up over, and so his arms are covering his ears in his sleep, like he's trying to block out some sort of noise.
I'm hesitant, but I don't want to talk in his ear if he's covering them up. I might just try putting a hand on his shoulder.
Seems to relax a little bit. Like it's possible he woke up briefly and realized he was dreaming and feels that there's a comforting hand there, and he just kind of slowly fades back out, and his body it doesn't seem to be as tense anymore. Whatever he was hearing, it definitely scared the shit out of him in his sleep.
Yay, I did it good.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of proud of you.
Yeah.
That was really cute. I like that.
So it's around the time that Ophio's getting ready to trance, end of her watch, that she hears again that drawn out, strained voice. Longing. This is longing, in case that didn't come across.
I'm aware. Mm.
And it says in the same voice, Warlock.
Why?
Willing.
And what will you gain out of this?
Learning. From you.
Ah. Well, and she looks up and sees Vash kind of like putting his hand on Jimmy's shoulder. I think that meddling with your power is out of the question. Again, power doesn't equate experience nor skill. So silence. I will take you home, but you're going to be quiet.
No response comes.
Soul King.
Yes.
I actually don't have anything else prepared for the night, and I really wanna end it on that. That was beautiful.
Mom yelled at me, and now I'm sad.
Sulking.